is Rod Boomer Guitar Sessions. Today we're going to reach for the uncommon chord. Now, like in my teaching, everybody knows the common chords, or they should know the common chords. We have your G's, your C's, your D's, your open chords, your bar chords, your movable chords, all that stuff is cool. How do we get creative with this and create sounds and reach for uncommon chords? Now, little disclosure here. Like in the 80s, a guy by the name of Alan Holdsworth wrote a book called Reaching for the Uncommon Chord. Now, when he says the uncommon chord, what it meant was this kind of business. All right, right? We're not reaching for those chords. We don't want to hurt ourselves. The kinds of uncommon chords that I'm talking about is I want to take something that is common and I want to change some fingers around and find something that sounds good. Even though we don't necessarily have to be able to call it and know what to call the chord, because sometimes it can be really weird. Like if I go, that's a chord. What do I call that? You can spend the time in the music theory and all that in the brain power to try to figure that out. But if you can, write it in a song, do you really need to know? Do you really need to know what all these chords are? So anyway, that's what we're going to talk about today. Reaching for the Uncommon Chord 2025 version edition. Kudos to Alan Holdsworth. All right, so that is first rule of thumb when you're reaching for the uncommon chord is to make sure your guitar is in tune. That sounds better. All right, so now the deal is, what we're going to start with, this is what is called an A sus2 chord. Hopefully you know that chord. Now, my method for reaching for the uncommon chord, this is going to resonate, I think, with songwriters, because songwriters get sick of just playing. They get sick of playing the same thing over and over again, so chord-wise, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take a common chord and then we're going to mess with the fingerings and try to find other chords that sound good to our ears. Now, what sounds good to my ears might not sound good to your ears. So you're going to be unique in yourself anyway, without even trying. That's another thing a lot of people do, is they say, how do I be unique on guitar? It's like, you're already unique. You don't have to try. It's kind of built in. So what you like and what you think is good sounding is different than anybody else in anywhere. So some things are going to be obviously good sounding. Some things are going to be good sounding in context of something else. And then some things are going to be just foul. Now, the older I get, the absolutely foul chords are fewer and fewer, because I can find a context. But that everybody's on a different plane on that. So anyway, what I'm going to do, start with that A sus2, and I'm going to move a finger. If I like the sound of that chord is mine. And that is something for me to use. I can use that. I can write a song with that. This is for the songwriter in the audience. In interworld land, internet land. Alright? I like that sound. That sound is completely usable. It's not even, there's no foulness in that there at all. I'm going to move that finger down again. That sounds great to me. Sounds good to me. I think that's so far so good. Okay, we're gonna go back to A sus2. If I go to here, that sounds good too. All this is stuff we can use. That sounds great. So far, we came up with all these different chord fingerings that are usable. Now what I can also do is I can go down. Now some people would say that sounds pretty foul. I don't. I think I like the sound of that. If you don't, then it's not your chord. That's fine. If I did this, that sounds pretty consonant, as they say. Consonant means pleasant sounding, not dissonant, which is edgy and wrong, like almost like a mistake. Which I like dissonance, by the way. All right. If I went up, now that sound, there it is. That sounds kind of foul. That might not be usable for you. Okay. All right. So that's one way we can do this. We can come up with new kind of chord sounds just by taking things we already know and look at the surrounding notes in that chord. Next thing we can do is we can move this chord around. That's kind of dissonant. That's kind of foul. That's kind of foul too. That sounds good to me though. That sounds good. That sounds good to me too. That sounds good, but good within the context. That sounds good. That sounds a little foul. So whatever I like are my chords. So I can take any chord I want. That sounds bad. So this sounds bad, but this sounds good. So you find your chords just by listening. You don't need music theory principles to tell you what you think sounds good. There's probably a music theory principle that explains why, but that doesn't matter. So anyway, so this is for the songwriter. When you're writing a song, one of the first things that I do is I find a set of chords that sound good together, then I sing a melody over top of it. So that see, all that sounds, those are my chords. So try that with any chord. These all sound kind of good to me. Anyway, this is Rod, Boomer Guitar Sessions. Reach for the uncommon chord. Create stuff. Create stuff that is, reach for it. Don't always go for the easy. Easy's not always cool. So anyway, see you next time.
Hi, this is Rod from Boomer Guitar Sessions. I personally wanted to thank you for being part of our community. If you like what we're doing here and you want to see more of it, please hit the like, subscribe, and share. And this helps me spread my musical messages to all over the world. Thank you. I appreciate you. And always remember, you can do this.